to another fantastic edition of the Sports Take Podcast. My name is Johnny Redmond, and as always, I'm joined alongside my fantastic co-host. To my left is Nick Odell. How you doing today, Nick?
Good, Johnny. How about you? We played a nice 9 holes of golf yesterday, did we?
Oh, it was wonderful, and I played another round today. Those links are really popular. To my lower left is Donnelly. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you very much for asking. And just below me is a very special guest. It's DJ Khalid's cousin from Elko, Nevada, PJ Khalid. How you doing today, PJ?
For the backstory, is because I shaved my beard, which I'm doing fine. Thank you, John. Yes, it's a little different. It's a different look this week. It's summer. Let me shave the beard.
I'm sorry. My producer is telling me that's Joe Gentile. Sorry, Joe. Big mix-up there.
Yeah,
but now that we've got introductions away, I think we're going to go ahead and move straight to the trivia question. And once again, Nick Odell has our trivia question. So take it away, Nick.
So thank you, Johnny. On this day in 2006, so today I believe is what, May 27th. So May 27th, 2006, Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees became the 8th Yankee to collect 2,000 career hits. Who was the Yankee player before Jeter who collected hit number 2,000? So the previous Yankee who collected 2,000, so he became the 7th, apparently. Jeter became the 8th.
That's tough.
So any guesses, guys, starting with Joe?
I mean, go Wade Boggs. I don't know what era you're talking about, so I'd go Wade. That's my guess.
Johnny, I have a feeling that you're gonna have a good guess with this one. Let's hear it, Johnny.
Well, my initial thought is it's down to really 3 guys, because I feel like it's a very obscure, not totally obscure, but very obscure Yankee. So I'm going to go with either, based on confidence, from 3 to 1, Scott Brocious, Chuck Knobloch, or Paul O'Neill.
Ooh, those are some good guesses, Johnny.
Yeah.
How about you, Donnelly? Do you have a guess?
Too many guesses. I have no idea.
I'll just throw a random Yankee out there.
You want to steal one of Johnny's then?
It was not Mickey Mantle.
No, I don't have a guess.
Even A-Rod? You want to throw A-Rod out there?
No, he didn't do that well.
I'll give you Scott Brocious. You can take. I'll take either Chuck Knobloch or Paul O'Neill.
These are all good guesses, and we'll find this out at the end of the show. But for all our viewers out there who are tuning in, please comment with your answer below and see if you're right at the end of the show. Back to you, Johnny.
As always, thank you very much, Nick, for that trivia question. And now that that's over with, I think we're ready to go ahead and jump into our round table. And first, we're going to start off with the NBA. So the NBA recently announced that they're going to do a 16-team playoff format where all the teams are going to be mixed together based on record. They're going to be playing the games at Disney. They're going to be broadcast live. And like I said, it's going to be based off current records in both leagues. Is this feasible? Joe, we'll go ahead and start with you.
I think it is. I think it's feasible. I mean, the NBA has had enough time to kind of discuss, what they're doing between the players and the owners, the commissioner, Adam Silver. I mean, he's a player's commish, and he knows what's best for the sport. He's done a fantastic job since taking over for David Stern years ago. And no matter what format I think he's going to go with, because he can try anything, and people are desperate for the NBA to be back. I think absolutely, like any sport at this point, is feasible. I mean, especially the later sports like the NBA and NHL for playoffs.
Do you think that he's earned enough clout so far to get backed ups from the rest of the league?
I think so. I think he's done such a great job. And he's listened to the players. He's listened to the teams, the stars of the league, LeBron James, Giannis, Kawhi. I mean, all these big names. He's listened to all of them. So I think he'll make it work. We don't know time frame, but I think he'll make it work in the end.
Interesting. Donnelly, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think it's good. It's been such a long time that we've had sports, especially for the NBA, and I think having this very diverse, different playoff bracket is exciting because it's new and it's something that no one's really seen before because we've always had the same exact style playoffs for many of years. So I think this is good for the NBA. It's probably going to get more viewership because it's going to keep it interesting throughout this playoff time.
You don't think there's going to be backlash among the fans that all the teams are going to be playing together instead of just the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference?
Oh, there always is. There's always going to be some kind of issue with some fans. There's always somebody that's going to say that, oh, it should be this way. Why can't we go back to the original? It's always going to be that way. It's that way with the current playoff. There's always somebody that doesn't like it. So.
Well, what about the general consensus? Would you say they would say this is a good idea, or do you think maybe they're going to be on the backlash kind of?
I think it's a good thing overall, just because people just want it back. They just want to see basketball again. So I think overall everyone is just excited that they're even having a playoff.
Interesting. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's feasible to have this sort of NBA playoff format. However, I do have some questions. There's some things that are questionable about this whole format, and I'll tell you what I have. Questionable in terms of those the safety protocols of players and how are they going to safely do this in this return? And of course, I have questions about the logistics of it. I know that they're playing in the happiest place on earth, but, you have to think all 30 NBA teams are playing in one city. It's going to be congested as heck down there. So I think, it is feasible. Fans would love this return. However, I'm very cautious about it. Is what I'm trying to get at here.
Well, you bring up some good points, Nick. I mean, because of the NBA's very lax handling of the coronavirus when it was just becoming more prevalent in the United States. I mean, that's really how all the major sports were shut off. I mean, it was Rudy Gobert who first got it because of that whole press conference debacle. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA handles it.
Yeah, and plus, what happens if there's another Rudy Gobert incident?
Exactly.
So you never know what's going to happen, and so we'll see what happens. But I'm just on the caution side. I mean, I like it, but I'm on the cautious side. So that's it.
Yeah, the NBA is going to have to be very careful, and if there is another incident like the Rudy Gobert incident, it's not going to look good for them, and it's going to be some very bad PR, and people are going to be looking to Adam Silver to answer questions.
Yeah.
Speaking of the playoffs, though, the NHL just recently came out with their new playoff format. Theirs is a little different, though. They decided to move to 24 teams, 12 from each conference, where the bottom 8 teams will all play for 4 spots, and then the top 4 teams will play buys. Will get buys. However, they'll play each other, and their records against each other will determine the seeding. Seems a little convoluted, but is this a good move? Joe?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Give me a bracket. People love March Madness. Why not do a bracket and make more teams, make it more meaningful? We see the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, way too long of seasons, which I know is a whole different argument. But you see the last quarter of the season, regular season for most of the leagues, they're pointless games. The teams that are already good enough to make the playoffs are already in. They're secure. They already have a playoff spot. So make it more, competitive for more teams. I mean, we'd like to see that. And as fans, I know we could go for anything now, but to see more product, to have the Blazers, who I think are 3 games out of the 8th spot right now. If I'm a Blazers fan, yes, I want a chance at the playoffs. But we're already 70 games in, 65 games in. I mean, this is enough sample size that you should be able to tell whether you're in the playoff picture or not. If they allow teams kind of like what I'm trying to say overall is that I think it's good, but hopefully too much of a good thing's not a good thing. And I think that overall the teams it'll work. People are looking for sports. I think the NHL is doing it right. Giving the chance for teams like the Canadians are the 12 seed right now. And we always see in March Madness a 12-5 matchup that could be an upset. We don't get that in regular playoffs. So I think it's good. I mean, Donnelly, what do you think?
I have to actually agree with you on that. I think it's going to be super exciting because it's sort of similar to March Madness, the World Cup. You have this almost like a group stage style playing before you really even dive into the playoffs, which really gives that excitement to see those lower level teams, like you were saying, Joe, that gives them a chance to maybe make that huge upset that they wouldn't have had a chance for prior to this whole ordeal that's going on. And now we just have this huge excitement of low-level teams potentially making it to the Stanley Cup, which would be phenomenal just for the entertainment value of it. So I think this is super exciting.
I'm all for that, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of March Madness, but is 24 teams too much? What do you think, Donnelly?
No, I don't think it's too much. I think with everything that's going on, we just need sports. And the season got kind of split up, and now we have this almost big tournament. And I think it doesn't matter how long it takes. I think it just needs to happen, and having all these teams is great for the league right now and great for the fans, so they have something to watch.
Interesting. Nick?
So, in terms of if I like the move or not, I absolutely love the move with the NHL going to a 2014 playoff format. Joe mentioned earlier that, people love a bracket. I believe that, the NHL.com Stanley Cup Bracket Challenge will have a lot more people signing up because like Joe said, everybody, people love a bracket-style tournament. And, this is just might as well call this, June Madness. Just like March Madness is. And, I absolutely love it. Like fans will be excited for this. And I think just overall, it's a great idea. I hope the Players Association approves it, and I hope the two sides can come to an agreement soon, because we badly miss sports. Oh my goodness. Johnny, your final take on this topic.
Guys, I have to completely disagree with you. I would be fine with a 12-team format. The top 4 teams all get buys, and that it's just based off of their current record. But now the Bruins, who won the President's Cup, who got over 100 points, now have to fight for their top seed, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I would be outraged if it was the Capitals who got the number 1 seed and had to fight for their top spot. It's nice for the fans, but it's not nice for Bruins fans. And if you're a fan of those last 6 teams or 7 teams that didn't make the playoffs, who's to speak for them?
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna interject because there was enough sample size, like I mentioned, with the 70 games played, that if you're not in the playoff picture now, you shouldn't be letting the playoffs now.
Yeah, but there's 8 more teams that wouldn't have been in the playoffs that are now in the playoffs.
But they were still eligible. The 7 teams were not mathematically eligible for the playoffs. They were eliminated, back in March, back in February.
I don't know. It just seems like a flawed system to me. I'm a hockey fan, so I'm still going to be able to watch it, but I still don't think it's a great move.
you don't think it's a good move, but are you excited for it?
I'm still excited for it. As a fan, yes. And as long as the Bruins win, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
A biased opinion from a passionate fan. Moving on. You guys all watched the Charity Golf Classic this week. The match 2, Tiger and Peyton defeating Tom and Phil Mickelson. So, is there a big surprise here,
No,
Joe?
no, I watched the whole thing. I watched all 18 holes. I figured Tiger and Manning would win, but I thought Phil and Brady would keep it close. And they were down 3 down for a while, holes 6 through 15-ish. But then they started making a run. Brady knows how to close. So he came on strong at the end. But there was just too much from Tiger and Peyton. They had some good shots. Brady had the shot of the match, though. Birdieing, I think, a hole 7 from the fairway after he was chirping back and forth with Charles Barkley. The broadcast was phenomenal. It brought in 6 million viewers. It was the only sport on. So people, of course, were going to tune in. I was excited for it. And Phil said after the match, we should do this yearly. Bring in different athletes. Like he threw out like Patrick Mahomes, Steph Curry. Get them in. And it was a good cause, too, because money for COVID-19 relief. It was $20 million that were raised. I think it worked out well, the whole idea of it. It was a match number 2. Phil won the first one. Tiger won the second one. So there'll be a third. There'll be at least a third to decide it. But overall, I think it was good.
I want to ask you a question that's something you brought up earlier. You said that Tom struggled a little bit early on.
Yep.
Did that detract you from watching it all, or?
I think it actually made me want to watch a little more. Like being a Brady fan, I'm still a Brady fan, even if he's in Tampa. But seeing him being, human instead of not human, like we've seen him on the football field for 20 years, and seeing him competitive, seeing that fire, seeing how he was going to rebound, and he did. And it started with that shot on 7, like I said, going back and forth with Charles Barkley. Even Brooks Koepka chimed in. He called into the tournament saying, "Hey, Brady, you make a par on the front 9, any of the front 9, I'll donate $100,000." And he made par on hole 8, or actually he birdied 7, made par on 8, and Koepka had to eat his words and donate $100,000. It was a great. It was, even though it downpoured, it was awesome to watch. I would watch that once a month. Get different, pairings in there. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Donnelly, what do you think?
Well, I didn't watch it, so just purely off of seeing the results of it, I really wasn't surprised that Tiger and Peyton won. I think it was I saw that going into it, that they were going to win. I don't know. It's just how I felt. But it is definitely exciting to see charity matches like that. And like Joe said, having that more often would be great for the sport and just great for everybody. Seeing people that are not true, golfers coming out and trying their best with, big time pros, I think is very entertaining.
Right.
Would you watch it with other golfers? Or do you think the big names attracted more people? I know you said you didn't watch it, but just based on your personal opinion.
I think the big names definitely attract people because just like any sport, everyone has their favorite player that they follow and they watch consistently. So I think based on the player, it'll change a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be too dramatic because I think the fact of having that outside athlete playing, it drives up that fan viewership. So I don't think it really will detract from it at all.
Nick, what are your thoughts on the match? Was this a big surprise for you?
So my initial thought was it was a big – it was a little bit of a surprise to me. But now that I think about it more, the reason why I initially thought it was was a little bit of a surprise was because, people forget that Tiger Woods is coming off multiple back surgeries. last time he competed, like, in a golf event, like, I think he almost missed the cut or missed the cut completely. So, like, there was a lot of question about how Tiger would carry the Woods Manning pairing. I mean, so at the beginning I thought, oh, Mickelson and Brady has this, but now I think about it, like, it's not a terrible surprise at the result. But I do want to say this on a side note. So I believe it was one of the holes where I saw where Russell Wilson chimed in, and he did like the he donated $100,000 for each time a golfer makes a shot within 12 feet of the hole, right? Right? Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. And what I'm surprised about is that only 3 out of the 4 golfers did it. And Tiger Woods was the only one
I remember that.
who didn't get the 12 foot. Like, I was expecting all 4 of them to do it because it was a par 3 hole. I mean,
Well, but 12 feet of the hole, that's tough. I mean,
Well-
there was water, there was sand. I mean, so 3 out of 4. I mean, I
but
thought it was
Tiger
pretty
Woods is
good.
a pro. I mean, he's got to.
Everybody's got an off day. Everybody's got an off day.
If you really think about it, they're all athletes, The thing that surprised me the most is how well that Peyton and Tom both played. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, Joe, Tom struggled a little bit early on, but he had some really good shots there at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that it was as close as it was, and the fact that Tiger and Phil weren't closer or weren't carrying Tom and Peyton. So I was really impressed overall.
definitely.
And it was a very, very close game too, but we'll get to that a little bit later. For now, I know that you got a chance to review highlights and hear some of the jokes and some of the quips that were being made, which made the match just as entertaining as the golf itself. Guys, what was your favorite quip or joke from the podcast or from the broadcast? Joe, we'll start with you.
Oh, I think it's Brady Barkley. Those two going at it was hilarious. And even Brady afterwards chimed in on Twitter saying, hey, Chuck, wasn't this the Champions charity event? And as we know, Barkley never won a championship. So that was a shot to Barkley. And once Barkley chirped on the fairway on 7, Brady sank that birdie. So that was the momentum that he needed to get out of the funk he was in the first few holes. So I loved it. I thought the smack talk was great. I mean, we always smack talk each other here and there. It's fun. So to see it between great athletes like that, because we don't typically hear it when a game is going on. So to hear it, and there was no fans, so we could really hear it.
I guess the difference between us and Charles Barkley is at least we won some championships. Dolly, what was yours?
So I think that Peyton has quite the sense of humor, and the fact that he was talking to Brady about bringing in Manning or Eli Manning or Nick Foles to be their caddy or his caddy was a pretty good shot to Brady, being as one of the two quarterbacks that beat him in the Super Bowl. And I think that was quite the shot to Brady. And like Joe said, it's great, to see the banter back and forth between athletes like that, especially seeing that Peyton and Brady were rivals for the longest time. It's fun to watch. It's fun to hear, and just makes for a great, entertaining golf match, because golf really isn't that entertaining in and of itself. So I think this really makes it that much better.
It's funny about Manning's comments later on, because he mentioned too that maybe he should have gotten Bill to caddy for him, which was, I love the back and forth that Peyton and Brady had. I mean, it was really fun to watch in itself. I mean, those two they're the best of friends, and on the field they can be super competitive, and on the golf course they can be super competitive, but they can always laugh it off and be friends about it.
It makes it so much greater.
It makes it so much better. Absolutely. Nick, what about you?
So Well, so again, TNT did this broadcast really nice. I mean, this is a really nice broadcast by TNT. They had the golfers mic'd up. I mean, a lot of banter back and forth, a lot of friendly, competitive banter back and forth between the personalities and the golfers. I mean, it was just incredible. But I think what the broadcast tidbit that I got out of this was, I think, Johnny, I was watching the match with you, the pre-show match, before the match even began, and not even 5 minutes into the broadcast, as Brian Anderson was introducing Charles Barkley. After he introduced him, Charles Barkley said said his opening words, and then immediately jabbed at Trevor Immelman on the other side. So, I think he said something. I don't remember what he said, but I remember Johnny looking over to me and was like, not even 5 minutes in the broadcast, Charles Barkley already at it. So,
Chuck is he's always smack talking everybody.
Oh yeah, but
that.
just the timing of it. The timing of that jab was not even that was just part of his opening statement. I mean,
sports could use that more.
It's funny that the first thing out of Charles Barkley's mouth was immediately going after Trevor Immelman.
Yeah.
Immediately going after him, calling him an amateur and just talking bad about him. Which is funny because I have never seen Charles Barkley golf in my entire life. But
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad game. He's more the amateur than anything.
And yet he's smacking the 2008 Masters champion. So you're absolutely right, Joe. That's Charles Barkley's in a nutshell. Mine was not so much a quip and a joke, but I'm going to have to go off of what you mentioned earlier, Joe. Tom Brady's chip in on the 7th hole for the birdie. Oh my gosh, what a statement in itself. I mean, that really got to Barkley too, because Barkley was talking bad about him. I mean, Brady's first shot was terrible. I mean, there was a shot where it sliced to the right where
Brady could not find the fairway all day. He was terrible off the tee.
There was one where Charles Barkley said, "I'll give you was it $50,000, $100,000 to the charity if you can get it on the fairway." And Brady sliced it right, and Charles said, "Well,
do you like this betting on the fairway? Do you like it? I did.
I think it's great.
If they're going to bet on the fairway, absolutely this. And this is absolutely the way to bet on the fairway. For charity, oh my gosh, yes. That was
and
awesome.
Just like my comment before about the entertainment value of it, I mean, who doesn't like a fun, obscene amount of money bet on well, not a simple shot, but just any random shot during the game. It's great.
Speaking of betting, we should go to our over-under segment.
All right. That's a great segue, Nick. So instead of yay or nay this week, we have a little segment called Over or Under. So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions, and I'm going to give you a number. And you're going to tell me if you believe that this number was over or under. And then I'm going to tell you the answer and give you I'm going to give you the answer, whether it was over or under, and give you the actual number. So let me give you an example. Russell Wilson donated 250,000.5 meals in relief. You guys would tell me over or under. As Nick mentioned earlier, Russell Wilson donated 300,000 meals, so that would be over.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
You guys understand the rules? You ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So Tiger's game-clinching pre-birdie putt was from 35.5 feet. Joe, over or under?
I think it was over.
Donnelly?
I think it was under.
Nick?
Push it.
No.
Half a foot.
I'll go a little bit over. Just a tad over.
All right. It was over.
Oh,
The putt was about 40 feet, just a little bit under. 40 feet.
Hey. I said a
All
little
right.
over, so.
So next question. Tiger and Peyton won by 1.5 holes. Joe, over or under?
Under. I know the answer, so I was trying to under.
Yeah.
Do you?
Try to do the math.
How confident are you feeling?
I watched the match. I had to look at the script again. It's under.
1.5 holes. There's an
It's
even number of holes in golf.
Going
Think
under.
about it. So, Donnelly, what do you think?
Over.
Nick?
Oh, it has to be under. I already know. I knew the final score, so it has to be under.
We watched it. We know
No,
what it is.
I was trying to get in your guys' head. Yeah, it was under. It was one hole. Just one hole. Here's something you guys probably don't know, though. Peyton changed his hat after 2.5 holes. Is that over or under? Did he change it sooner or later?
Ooh, this is a good one.
I wish you asked about Brady and his split pants, because then I would have went over. But it wasn't Brady's pants. I'll go under. It was pouring rain. I think his hat got soaked. I'm gonna say he changed on hole 2.
Donnelly?
Over.
Nick?
I'm gonna say over here.
The correct answer is under. He changed it after one hole.
Woohoo!
Change after one hole.
Joe, you're on a roll, but this last question is not going to be easy. The event raised $20 million for COVID-19 relief efforts. Over or under?
I mean, I can't push, so I'm gonna go over.
I'm also going
Donnelly?
to go over.
He went over.
Nick?
I can't push, right? Or can I push?
Nope, can't push.
It's not push, Nick. I'll give you that.
I'll go over too.
All of us over.
All right, guys. It was just under $20 million.
What was the
Just
exact amount?
Under.
What was the
Uh,
exact amount? That's.
I could have sworn it was in the mid-20s.
It was just under.
I
Wow.
want to recount.
Listen, this is not Florida during the 2000 presidential election, all right? You can't just recount.
Oh, Florida.
All right,
Okay.
I won that. I won that segment though. I'm just throwing it out to the fans. Which right now we have 0 comments. We have some people watching though. Thank you guys for the viewership.
Thank you.
DJ
But post your comments, questions, concerns, all below, and we will address them later on in the show.
Concerns? Like, what would they be concerned about, Joe?
How good or bad we're doing?
Oh, yeah, right.
Our take on sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be completely wrong on this. We don't know.
All
DJ
right.
Khaled's cousin, PJ Khaled, channeling his inner Al Gore, winning the round.
Wait, Al Gore didn't even
Did I
win.
say?
Also, thank you to all the fans who are watching right now. We really appreciate your viewership, and we love you. We're going to move on to one of our favorite segments, though, is the brackets. We've got some interesting matchups today. We've got Joe and Donnelly with
Let's go.
baseball. And then we're going to move into myself and Nick with the match. But first, we're going to go ahead and start off with Joe and Donnelly. We haven't mentioned Major League Baseball today, but there's been a lot of uproar over the past week that players are not going to be able to get their full salaries, saying they're only going to get probably 50% of their salaries and possibly even as low as 20 or 30%. Are the players being selfish? And is it fair to them? Donnelly, we'll go ahead and start with you.
I think it's completely fair. I mean, granted, if my job said that I'm going to only get 20 or 30% of my pay, it would really suck. But when you're talking about players that are making millions and millions of dollars, that's not that huge of a pay cut for their livelihood. They can still survive off that easily. So I think for sure that they are being very selfish about that. And I don't think in these times right now that they should be worried about how much they're making, all the way up to their contracted amount. I think they should just appreciate that they're still getting paid and just leave it at that and continue on with the season whenever it starts up.
Joe, go
I
ahead.
mean, For me, yeah, I have to agree. I mean, the players look selfish. The players look bad in this situation. I mean, if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. So the players want to get paid in full, but no one's worked. There's been no sports. So why should they still be compensated their full salary, their full yearly salary, for a handful of games in the grand scheme of things? That looks bad for the sport. Ultimately, if there is no baseball played this year, it looks worse for the players. The owners get a pass in all this because the owners are trying to reach out to the players and make it work any way they can. But for America's pastime, when they dominate the summer, they are the summer sport. If they're not going to have a season and you see NBA, NHL, and then possibly training camp come in and swoop up the summer from baseball, who's already hurting for viewership, baseball looks bad and the players look awful in this situation.
All right, some great arguments, guys. Nick, what would you give Donnelly?
Donnie made some good points. This is basically evenly matched between Donnelly and Joe. It's tough. Both Donnelly and Joe made some good points. It's tough. I'd have to give Donnelly a 3.
Very well.
What would you give Joe?
Again, these two were evenly matched. I'll also give Joe a 3.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. So I was rather interested in this topic, and I did look up some statistics. I'm surprised that you guys didn't mention that the average player salary is $4.095 million per year. Dolly, you did bring this up, though, that players are making millions of dollars, but there wasn't quite enough information. And frankly, I was a little disappointed that you guys didn't talk about minor leaguers at all, because we forget that there are plenty more minor leaguers who are making almost nothing to not play right now, and they're being underrepresented, frankly. Dolly, purely for the fact that you mentioned that, I'll give you a 3. But Joe, I really liked the impassionment in your argument. I'm going to go ahead and give you a 4.
Wow.
So,
Really, they should be a 2 and a 1, but
so Joe wins.
I'm
and
being very generous.
All right.
Joe
So
wins.
it looks like Joe is going to win by 1 point. He's going to move on to the championship round. Donnelly, you're being delegated to the third place game. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and move to Nick and myself. So, Nick, I'm going to let you go first. What do you think was the best moment from the match?
Oh, there's so many to choose from. But the best moment, and it's the funniest moment, I would say, was Brady splitting his pants, I would say. It just gave a laugh to everybody out there. It just provided comedic relief. I mean, enough said there, and it definitely gave me a laugh. So I'm going with that. That's my best moment. How about you, Johnny?
I think mine is a little bit more passionate. It was not more so based on comedy or actual play. I really enjoyed, just before the match, Ernie Johnson talking about his son who suffers from muscular dystrophy. He's 31 years old. He's had it for about 9 years, talking about all the precautions that he has to take with COVID-19 and urging Americans to continue taking those precautions. I think it was just what sports fans and athletes needed. The fact that it was so relatable, that it was so honest, and the fact that he was so passionate about it, I think really hit a chord with a lot of sports fans and, frankly, people who are now watching but are not necessarily sports fans. And I think it's just what, in a way, Americans needed to hear. So I was really impressed with that, and frankly, I enjoyed watching it in itself.
All right,
Hey
both
guys, what do you
good
think?
arguments.
Good arguments.
Good points, guys. Gonna make it tough on us. Donnelly, you want to go first? Or me?
Sure. Nick, I liked your take on it, but I think it lacked a whole lot of information. For that, I'm going to give you a 2.
Okay.
Johnny, I liked your sentimental take on your best moment. Definitely sounds like it was a good one, but still just going to give you a 3.
All right, guys, it was close. I think Nick, you brought up Brady, and you know how much I love Brady. So I liked you mentioned that point, but you should have backed it up a little more. So I did knock you down a little bit to a 3. And Johnny, I remember that moment perfectly, watching the pregame to the match, and Ernie Johnson addressing that, and it was so heartfelt. It was very touching, and for what he goes through, what his son goes through, and not a lot of people knew about that story. So I'm glad that they started the broadcast with that to show the severity of what's going on. No matter who it is, because people are suffering out there, but it takes a special kind of person like EJ to shed some light on it and a positivity and be there for his son and to take the precautions like you said. So for that, I got to give you a 4. I mean, that was very well done.
And Johnny moves on.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. And it looks like I'm going to move on to the championship round with Joe. But for the third place.
No, with Donnelly. Oh, I'm sorry. Donnelly and Nick for the third.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. PJ Cali, you got to take off those headphones. So moving on to the third place game. This is actually a viewer submitted question, right, Joe?
Yeah, and I was hoping, I was kind of hoping I lost to Donnelly so I could debate this question. That's why I messed up right there being in third place game. But I can't wait to hear this argument.
Yeah. First off, I want to go back to last week really quickly. The correct answer is 750,000 chickens, but I'll get to that later. The fact that you guys said 2 and 1 is outrageous.
Hey, I said like 30 or 40. All right, I was more
said
reasonable.
No, you said 2, but I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. I'm pretty mad. So, anyways, the third place question that Nick and Donnelly are going to debate is: was there enough room on that door for Jack in the Titanic? Nick, we'll start with you.
You better make this good. Both
This
of
is
you.
a great question. This is a great question. So, yes, there was enough room on that door. However, get this: if 2 people were like laying on that door, the door would have sunk into the ocean. Physics, man.
Donnelly?
So I only partially agree with Nick, and that yes, they can definitely fit on that because it's a door. That's 2 people could easily fit on a door. If you remember, there wasn't just the door. That there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more buoyancy, and they could have easily floated for days on that thing, and they 100% could have survived that and lived their happy little lives out and had a great time instead of letting one of them drown because she wouldn't help him up onto that stupid door.
Oh, that was just okay.
I
I have some choice words about that. Do you want me to start, Joe?
Go for it.
Okay, first off, Nick, you said exactly what I would have said in that argument, word for word. Plenty of room, but the door would have sunk. I'm going to give you a 5. In fact, if I would give you a 6.
5
Short and
max.
sweet. Donnelly, what on earth was that?
A great argument.
Listen, first off, there are rumors that Jack Dawson was a figment of Rose's imagination, that he never actually existed. You didn't even bring that up. All right.
That's fair, but I also never heard that before.
Okay. Well, you didn't bring it up, and the rest of your argument was absolutely awful. I'm a big Titanic fan. I cry like a baby every single time I watch that. You have ruined the movie for me. I'm giving
good.
you a -1.
So
Wow.
1.
I'm giving you
Zero.
a 1. If I could, I would give you a -1.
Oh wow. Okay. So I actually thought opposite of Johnny.
Unbelievable.
I did. Donnelly, I'll start with you. Donnelly, you used the word buoyancy, which increases your score right there, in order to save Jack and Rose. And spoiler for whoever has not seen Titanic, I'm sorry. We just have to throw
I thought you were
that
talking
out.
about The Godfather.
Yeah, the Godfather. Donnelly, I fully agree with you. I've been having this argument since the movie came out. There's room on
I
that
think
door.
everybody
for both.
has.
Yeah, and there's room on the door. It's a door.
Exactly.
It's big enough. 5. I give you a 5.
All right.
Absolutely. Nick, it's a fun argument. Do not bring science into a fun argument. Physics? No. When did this show become a science show? We want us to get Bill Nye. We'll get Bill Nye on the show next week. For the love of God, Nick, just visualize a door. Can 2 people be on it? You should just stopped halfway through the argument. 1.
So it's a tie.
Yeah. Johnny, can I read the
this is where-
tiebreak question?
I'm sorry, I have to mentally regroup because this is where friends are made and lost in these kind of arguments.
Wait, Johnny, I
I
want to read
don't
the
think I'm
tiebreak.
ever going to be the same. I have a surprise tiebreaker question. Should Rose have dumped the necklace into the ocean? Donnelly, go ahead.
That is a surprise tiebreaker.
Oh, I was not prepared for this one. Well,
You tossed the necklace. Go ahead.
15 seconds.
Spoiler. Wait. Again, spoiler if you've not seen Titanic. Sorry.
Listen, every sports fan has seen Titanic.
My heart will
That's just
go
a
on.
fact. When you go to your first Red Sox game, you see Titanic before you go. All right? The movie's 20 years old. Donnelly,
yeah, she should have just thrown it in there after she let him go like that. That was just a horrible move on her part. Plenty of room on that door. Just to throw the necklace out. Don't even bother with it anymore after that
God.
move.
Nick,
Nick, what do
Wait,
you
are you saying you want to throw a very expensive necklace in an ocean?
Yes.
Are you out of your mind? Like, come on, dude.
Well, they found the Titanic, so technically they just could have picked it back up again.
No. That necklace was worth something. Worth like a lot.
how much
of
was
money.
it worth?
It was worth a lot of money, darling. Don't you? Come on.
What's that number, Nick?
You know what, Nick? I'm going to go ahead and vote first again. I was so impassioned by your argument again, but you lost me in your greed. All right? If you had just said she would have sold it, she could have sold it on eBay, I would have been fine. All right? Frankly, I don't agree with your argument at all, but you lost me when you said it was worth a lot of money. Your greed disgusts me. I'm giving you a 2. Donnelly, I'm just giving you a 2.
You get both 2s?
You brought the door into your argument for no reason at all.
Joe, you're
Like you were trying to salvage whatever was bad about your last conversation and bring it into this one. Frankly, I should give you a 1. You know what? I'm going to change my mind. You're getting a 1.
So Nick
Joe.
get a 2. Donnelly a
I'll
1.
get a 1. So it's all up to you,
Just
Joe.
terrible. Joe,
Wait. So Nick's got 2. Donnelly's got 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Just for the viewers at home. I think this tiebreak was not on the script, so it caught us all off guard. That's why I laughed through the whole thing. I'd like to apologize for laughing through the entire thing, but great argument again, guys. Um,
We prepare
I will
tiebreakers in advance, just in case. We don't ever plan on using them, but we prepare them just in case. However, I am such a big Titanic fan, I just had to throw this one on there.
All right, I'll start with Donnelly though. Donnelly, you mentioned the door again, which was a good touch, but didn't really have to do with the necklace. No, Johnny, listen to me. But didn't have anything to do with the argument of the necklace. So for that, I do have to give you a 1. You kind of steered off a little bit. Nick, you stayed on topic with the necklace, the worth of the necklace, and I think overall you did pretty well. You couldn't give us a price on the necklace, but who knows? Who honestly knows? Maybe there's a copy of it on eBay. We will see later on. But for that, Nick, I'll give you a solid 3. I think you did good.
All right, so I advance, and Donnelly
All right.
gets himself muted.
Just like the
think
score of
for
a
the-
Braves game, the score is 5-2. Not very fun at all. But Donnelly,
Donnelly, is this the first time you get muted?
It is.
this was his first time getting muted.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
before he gets muted, we have the championship round.
Yep.
You.
No, he gets muted during the
No.
championship round.
No.
No, it's
Because
after.
He doesn't get to make his choice.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
because
get the
we
score.
need the score.
This is weak.
Go ahead. We need the championship round. Me and you, Johnny.
All right, so I will read off the question.
Bring it on.
So, there's so going back to the match, so there's a lot, like I think like Joe said earlier, Phil Mickelson pointed out a few potential matchups in the future. Guys, I want to see what your thoughts are for another great matchup like we had on Sunday, between celebrities. Let's go with Joe first. Joe gets to lead us off. What do you think?
Okay. I mean, I like I said earlier, I love this concept of the match, having celebrities go head to head. Pairing them up with a PGA professional. For 2 athletes, I would go Jordan versus LeBron. That is the debate. That is the debate that always goes on. And this is decades now that this debate has gone on, ever since Jordan played in the 90s.
Okay, but who would be their golf pro that's paired with them?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
I think that Rory McIlroy, are we doing 2 different than Phil and Tiger? Or we can keep
Yes.
the same?
Yes.
Okay, 2 different.
2 different, yeah.
I would go Rory McIlroy with LeBron. And I would go Dustin Johnson with Michael Jordan. Little DJ MJ, matchup. And I think the settlement of Jordan LeBron, people would tune in. Kids debate this. LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. Adults debate this. So to settle on the golf course, it would be sweet to watch.
Yes. How about you, Johnny?
Are you done?
I am. I could keep going if you want.
Okay, so in a rare move, I'm going to go ahead and dispute yours in saying that LeBron doesn't golf.
LeBron is a freak athlete. He can play any
That
sport.
doesn't mean he can golf. I wouldn't ask Charles Barkley to throw a football.
That'd be interesting.
I'm going to go with
See?
athletes. I'm going to go with some athletes who actually golf, who are pretty popular as it is. All right? My first one is Drew Brees, who's already mentioned that he would love to pair up with Sergio Garcia and do a match 3. I think that would be very fun to watch. Drew Brees is not quite as popular as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, but still pretty popular. Same thing for Sergio Garcia. And I would love to see him pair up with Larry Fitzgerald and Brooks Koepka. I think it would be an even match. I think it would be a fun match. And frankly, they all golf. So it wouldn't be like watching LeBron get a 10 on hole number 1 because he keeps slicing it to the right.
They play best ball. They wouldn't get a 10.
You made your argument, okay? Guys vote.
All right. Well, Joe, I'm going to give you a 3 based on the fact that you had some pretty good choices there. Solid choice. I like it. I think it'd be entertaining. However, one of them doesn't really play golf, so therefore, then you only get a 3.
Okay.
But Johnny, you're not that far ahead, so don't get your hopes up. You get a 4, just because you did pick people that actually golf.
Right?
But I did like your choices. I think that would be quite the matchup there. I think that would be entertaining to watch. So you get a 4. Nick, what do you think?
So I really like Joe's points because, he actually like, stuck with his reasoning and everything. So I would give him a 4, actually. A 4 because I liked his pairing. I would love to see Michael Jordan go up against LeBron James, like Joe said, in a game of golf. To settle the Jordan-LeBron debate in that fashion is going to be so great to watch. And plus, don't forget, Jordan is an avid golfer. So for him to be up against LeBron James,
who's not an avid golfer.
Well,
Hey,
still,
you made your
Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, they're not avid golfers, bro. So I like Joe's point. He gets a 4. Johnny, just because you interjected a few times, you give you a 3. I would give you a 4, but you get a 3.
Joe did the same thing. And we're tied again.
We're tied. So we go to another tiebreaker question.
Wait, can I?
Oh boy.
Can I say something about the tiebreak?
Yeah.
Can we skip the first tiebreak and go to the second one, please?
Which is yeah.
Johnny, do you agree? Would you want to debate that one just to keep it fair?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, the age-old question. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I know it's a tongue twister, but let's start with this time. I want to hear Johnny's opinion.
Okay, first off, I just want to quickly mention we have a lot of ties in this game. But I think this is a great question. This is a question that I have debated for many years. All right. And I think the answer is the same as an answer that we've heard before across one of my favorite books of all time. And I hope you guys get the reference when I say 42.
What?
All right.
I'm going to lose this argument then. All right, Joe?
I mean, it's the age-old question, and it's like you, Nick said, a tongue twister. Just like seashells by the seashore. I think. Hey, don't interject. The fact of the matter is, I think that it is a solid pallet of wood. I would say. Now, how much wood can fit on a pallet? Depends who stacks it. My pile would be different than Nick's pile, then different from the woodchuck. The woodchuck would probably stack it, and I'm going to go a solid 12 by 12, so about 144. I got Johnny laughing. Go ahead.
Boy,
that was over 10 seconds.
All right, so it's time to vote.
All the rules.
It's time to vote. Donnelly, I'll let you go first because I'll reserve my comments for last.
No, that's good because I don't have much because both of those arguments were awful. But I will have to say Johnny's was worse than Joe's.
Yeah, it was.
So, Johnny,
with that.
You get a 1. Joe, only because yours is slightly better than Johnny's, you get a 2.
All right, I'll take that.
Okay, so Johnny was god awful. Oh my god.
You guys need to read more. Read a book.
I don't got time for that.
Oh my gosh, you've never seen Gulliver's Travel? You've never read Gulliver's Travels?
It's like Johnny.
No.
You ask them what the meaning of life is, and the computer says 42.
Johnny. It's like you say, do the beavers respect the wood? Come on, man.
Go ahead, Nick.
Johnny, you're gonna get a flat out 1. If I had to give a negative, it would be -5. Oh my God, it was god awful. A
What do I
1.
get?
A
Oh,
1.
that was worse than my argument 2
No.
arguments ago.
Joseph, Richard Gentile, you get a perfect 5 for that. In your
Oh.
Wow.
Joe, your argument was so intriguing, funny. It's almost all of the above. I would give you a perfect 5. And Joe is our winner for this.
All right. Let's go.
Joe is in first, Johnny second, me in third, and then Donnelly, sorry, but you're muted for the rest of the show.
And
Wow.
with that, I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the trivia answer. Nick, would you like to repeat the question and give us the answer?
I will be glad to, Sir Johnny.
I dominated that. Donnie,
Yeah,
that
you
might have
did.
been the biggest blowout in the history of the show so far, which is 4
Right.
shows deep.
Right. All right, so trivia question one last time. On this day, May 27th, 2006, Derek Jeter became the 8th Yankee to collect 2,000 career hits. Who was the Yankee player who achieved that feat prior to Derek Jeter? And the correct answer is none other than Yankees outfielder Bernie Williams.
Ooh, wow.
Yankee outfielder Bernie Williams, he accomplished the feat against the Colorado Rockies
Wow.
on Joe Gentile's 13th birthday, June 10th, 2004.
So that means
Not
Joe
gonna
is,
lie. Not gonna lie.
That means Joe is 39.
That's why you finished second, because of your math skills.
So yes,
did
Bernie
use
Williams,
math in
correct
Liberia.
answer. Yankee
Don't you
outfielder.
criticize my math skills.
Also, too, he retired after the 2006 season. Did Bernie Williams?
Wow. Bernie Williams.
Yep,
Huh. I forgot about him.
Wow.
Bernie Williams.
Does he still play guitar?
Yeah, I mean, musicians always know how to play instruments for the rest of their lives. So I would assume so.
Wow.
What
Bernie
a
Williams.
throwback.
Okay.
Okay, so Johnny, back to well, actually, we can do our final thoughts, huh? So I think Joe gets to go first.
Joe gets
no,
to choose
dude.
the order.
I get the pick.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. So
So
Joe.
I finished first, Johnny second, and Nick third, and Donnelly's muted. So I'm going to choose the guy I beat. Johnny, you go first.
Ah,
All right, so I like to bring back my point on the chickens. All right. The clear answer is 750,000 chickens, okay? You have 250,000 coming from the front, 250,000 coming from the back. You have 150,000 coming in from the front. You got 75,000 coming in from the back. You've got 20,000 coming in on an aerial assault. You have 24,950 coming in on reserves, and then you have 50 squad leaders. That gives you a total of 750,000 chickens to kill that lion.
Nick, we should have started with you. Go ahead. Nick.
So Joe, am I going next?
Yeah, go ahead.
2 chickens. Stupid.
All right, so like a quick bit. This past weekend was Memorial Day, and I hope all of you had a great Memorial Day weekend. But also, let's not forget the men and women who sacrificed their lives for this country. Yeah. So I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day, and hope you guys remembered the fallen. So. And also, too, my other final thought is 10 years ago yesterday was when in high school I performed the great rap song Ice Ice Baby.
Can we mute Nick?
We need,
No,
we
don't
need,
mute me. Don't mute me.
We need sports back.
Yes, we do.
Both of these final thoughts have not been sports related at all.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
Mine was logic based. Why would you throw a necklace into the ocean?
He's going to carry on this dispute till next time.
The door would have sunk. Go ahead.
My final thought, as Nick said, happy Memorial Day to everyone. I hope everybody had a good holiday. I know times are different now. Hopefully everyone practiced social distancing still if you got together with friends and family. As far as a side note before my sports final thought, Johnny, happy early birthday. We may not have another show before your birthday this weekend, so I wanted to shout out your birthday. We usually do a birthday shout out each week, and because we won't have a show, another show before your birthday, I just wanted to send you best wishes from all three of us, and we're very lucky to have you on the show.
Johnny, how old do you turn? 42?
Well played, Nick. Well played.
Nick, I actually turned 194.
And you're still
Really good for my age. Good.
Looks good. And as far as my sports final thought, I'm happy to see the NHL making strides to the 24 team playoff. I'm hoping the NBA, the MLB figure it out soon. It was good to see golf, live sport, on air this past weekend. I know NASCAR's back too. All the NASCAR fans out there, we know there's races, but it's not the same without fans in the stands. And I think overall, as much as we all love sports, it's been fun debating randomness with you guys. We killed over an hour, and we talked from Titanic to how much wood would a woodchuck chuck. So wanted to thank you guys very much for, again, doing the show with me, doing the show with all of us. It's a lot of fun, the viewers. We do it for you guys, and we will be back next week. Our hours, our days typically change, busy schedules as we get older, but since we're doing this remotely now, we'll have a show each week. I fully believe that, and I'm very lucky to do it with you guys. It's been an honor. We'll try to bring in some guests too. We've talked about bringing guests, so if anyone wants to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me, Nick, Donnelly, or Johnny. And we will definitely figure out what team is your team, and we can have a good discussion, a debate, whatever you want to call it, on said team or topic.
Yeah.
And for me winning this week, I'm just taking up as much time as I can, but I know I'm well over. So, Johnny, finish up the show, man. You're the host.
Take us home, Johnny.
All right. Before I take us home, I'd just like to apologize once again to all the viewers who have not seen the Titanic and for all of the spoilers tonight. For everybody who has not read Gulliver's Travels, and for everybody who does not know that woodchucks chuck wood. Joe, thank you very much. Yes, Joe?
I was just going to say, Donnelly, you've been super quiet. Any final thoughts? No. Okay. Go ahead.
It's a nice beard. And also, thank you for the early birthday. I have a few choice words that I'd like to mention next week if we have time. But for now, it looks like we are out of time. So thank you again to our loyal viewers. We love you very much. And we will see you next week. But in the meantime, keep watching sports.
Stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe. Bye, everybody.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.